and welcome to the new era of the DTM. We are so psyched. It's the second race weekend of the season. We are here at the Lausitzring, and we're super excited because the qualifying is about to get started. And behind me you can see Sheldon, that's his brother. It's Calvin van der Linde, who is at the moment the leader of the pack because he won the second race of the first race weekend, which was in Monza. And the cars are about to get started and about to drive out of the box, and we're so ready for this qualifying. And one more thing that needs to be mentioned is we've got spectators here at the Lausitzring, and we're super excited. So let's get the qualifying started. And here's your commentator, Chris Hartley. Enjoy.
Thanks very much indeed, Verena. Great to have you back with us here at the Lausitzring. Welcome along, everybody, to the second weekend of the 2021 season and the first time that we've been racing in Germany after a great visit to Monza for the season opener. There's Timo Glock, who had a troubled day yesterday. Only managed 9 laps of running in the first free practice session, and in the second 45-minute practice session, he didn't get out at all. So troubles down at Rover Racing, but his teammate Sheldon van der Linde was the driver that set the overall quickest time of the day yesterday, fastest in free practice too. There is Vincent Abril, who made his mark with his arrival in the championship as one of the rookies at Monza by claiming the first pole position of the year, and already a podium finisher in DTM, having finished second in that race. He was beaten in the end by Liam Lawson, the 19-year-old New Zealander who took a maiden victory on his debut, the Formula 2 racer. And there we've got Max Buch, who is coming in this weekend for a second time to replace Gary Paffett, the double champion, who's scheduled to be with us for the rest of the season, but doing a very good job as a substitute so far. Calvin van der Linde, you saw his car in the garage with Verena, and there you can see it at the head of the queue, ready to get out for this 20-minute qualifying session. And Calvin van der Linde was another one that didn't do too much running in free practice 2 yesterday, hardly anything in fact. Free practice 1 was pretty good, but the second one, he went out for a couple of exploratory laps, but didn't really put a time in. So a bit of a worry there, or potentially a question mark, but as Verena said, he is the championship leader coming into this weekend after picking up his first victory of the season in race 2 at Monza. He was one of only a handful of drivers that managed to score points in both races, 5th in race 1, 1st in race 2, and with the points that he picked up in qualifying as well, he comes here with an 11-point lead in the championship. Calvin van der Linde on 38 points, Liam Lawson, the race 1 winner, on 27 points in second, Nico Muller, double runner-up in the championship, 22 points, 3rd in the standings. Vincent Abril, who you've already seen, 21 points in 4th place. Alex Albon has 18 points in 5th place, and Max Gotts, who picked up his first DTM podium at Monza a few weeks ago, has got 16 points and is in 6th place. There is the sole British driver in the field this weekend, Esme Hawkey, who is getting used to life as a DTM racer, having had very little in the way of pre-season testing with a late deal to come through. But Esme also learning the circuit here at the Lausitzring. She's predominantly been racing in the UK in Porsches over the last couple of seasons in the Porsche Carrera Cup GB as a Pro-Am champion. Sophia Florsch is a driver that has some experience of the Lausitzring, having raced here when she was in Formula 4, the ADAC German Formula 4 Championship. Got a 6th place finish here in one of the races, although she said that it's not one of her favourite circuits. However, she was improving all the way through the practice sessions yesterday. So there you can see Esme Hawkey's T3 Motorsport run Lamborghini, and there is the number 30 Liam Lawson driven Red Bull AF Corsa Ferrari. Red Bull, who have these backing and this partnership with Ferrari, and have this very talented driver who's currently running in 8th place in the FIA Formula 2 Championship. Bit of a tough weekend for him at Silverstone last weekend, where he wasn't able to get on the podium, but he's already been a race winner in that championship. And Daniel Hungadea coming back into the DTM has looked pretty quick so far in the sessions as well, and he would be one to hope that he can improve upon his record here at the Lausitzring. His best finish at this circuit's a 4th place in 2014, a couple of 6th place finishes as well in 2013 and 15, but Daniel Hungadea never been on the podium here at the Lausitzring. However, he's with a good team, Gruppa M, good package, good car, very good driver, should go well, as should Philip Ellis, who is here as another of the DTM rookies. Had an unfortunate start to the season at Monza. Great start actually on lap 1, but then the car stopped on lap 2, lost power to the engine, but then he had a very strong top 6 finish in the second race at Monza. Esteban Moot is another of the talented young drivers that's coming in this season. The Belgian is another teenager, just 19 years old. 2 fifth-place qualifying performances at Monza, but the races didn't quite go his way. Had a clash with Liam Lawson in the second race when they were battling for 4th position. But he has certainly shown that he's got the raw ability to be able to compete at the front of the field here. So their Timo Glock going out, which will be a relief. He's one of the drivers using this new fly-by-wire steering system that's been developed by partners to the DTM, Schaeffler, and so no steering column on those cars, no mechanical connection between the steering wheel and the steering arms. It's all done electronically with sensors. And Timo Glock heading out. 20 minutes of qualifying then to set the grid for the first race of the weekend, which comes up this afternoon. A separate qualifying session tomorrow. And a couple of other points to note. Firstly, success ballast this year, introduced with the top 3 finishes in a race carrying into the next qualifying session and race the following success ballast penalties. So if you win, you get 25 kilograms. If you're second, 18. If you're third, 15. The easiest way to remember that is that it's basically matched up to the point system, because you score 25 points for a win in DTM, 18 for second, 15 for third, same as the Formula 1 point scoring system, the FIA system, which takes you down to a point for 10th. The other thing to note is that there are points available for qualifying in DTM. If you get pole position, that's 3 championship points. If you qualify second, 2 championship points. And if you qualify third, you get a single championship point. So the cars heading out around the Lausitzring. This is the 4th most used circuit in DTM. We've had 29 races here over the years. We're in the east of Germany, not too far from the border with Poland and the Czech Republic, in between Berlin and Bremen, and surrounded by woodland and forest. This racetrack was actually built in 2000 on the site of a huge open-air coal mine. So it's an industrial centre around here, but the surrounding area is lush and green, and it's a pretty part of the world. And this huge, huge, monumental racetrack built for initially IndyCar racing. It's been owned since 2018 by DECRA, another DTM partner. Used a lot for testing these days rather than racing, but the DTM always come here. But the key thing to note this weekend is that we're using a different layout for the first time ever. Something they tried to do back in 2003, but tyre problems in the end put pay to it late in the weekend, and there was a switch back, and it's never happened since. But now it is happening, and instead of turning off the tri-oval banking before you get to turn 1.
Affirmative, affirmative.
Team radio there from Kelvin van der Linde, the championship leader with whom you ride on board now. So yes, instead of turning off before you get to the first banked corner at turn 1, you'll see it in a moment because the onboard camera about to take you over the start-finish line. There you would normally turn left, right, left again, cut off the inside of banking and rejoin. This time, watch what happens. You stay all the way through the banking. It's just a little lift through there. It's not quite flat out. Top speed by the time the cars exit here and get onto the straight. They're pushing over 270 kilometers an hour. Yesterday, that's 170 miles an hour. Brake with about 200 meters to go, and then turn left off the tri-oval circuit and to the infield through turn 2, which leads straight into that right-hander at turn 3, the left at turn 4, and then onto a straight as you go right into the middle of the infield section, leaning up towards the right-hand sweeping hairpin at turn 5. Another straight which runs parallel to this one, takes you back then down to the last sector, turn 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, twisty section, which leads you then back onto the tri-oval. So a lot of the lap flat out. They got an extra test session yesterday to try and get used to it, because it's not somewhere they've tested before, even in pre-season. But the drivers very much enjoying the challenge of being as brave as they can through that first turn. So the fastest time as a benchmark we had yesterday was in free practice 2. It was Sheldon van der Linde for Rover Racing, and it was a 131.221 second lap. Alex Albon was second quickest in the second free practice session, followed by Luca Sauer, who got his 3rd win here at the Lausitzring last year. Got his maiden win, a maiden podium at this circuit as well, did Luki. And then in the first free practice session yesterday, Arjun Maini was Really impressive, got straight down to the pace and was quickest in that one. First driver to break into the 1:31s. So Kelvin van der Linde sets the early benchmark time of 1:31.371 seconds. Absolute bests in Sector 2 and Sector 3. But Timo Glock has just done the best first sector and a personal best in the second sector. The first sector is the shortest. It's around about 19.5 seconds. 38 seconds for the second sector and 33 seconds for the third sector. Marco Wittmann has gone up to second with a 1:31.453. He's only just ahead of Mike Rockenfeller, who's 45 thousandths of a second adrift, and Timo Glock has done it with that lap. He's gone to the top of the times, 1:31.354 seconds, but only by 17 thousandths of a second. Well, he said after free practice 1 in the press conference that they had some technical issues to sort, which was why he suggested they'd only done 9 laps. There's been no reports of what caused him not to go out at all in free practice 2, but we have seen this at Monza where Lucas Auer missed one of the free practice sessions, and it might be to do with tyre saving, because from the first round onwards, once that one's out of the way, from round 2 onwards, you only get 3 sets of new tyres to run through free practice, 2 qualifying sessions and 2 races. As Alex Albon goes to the top of the times with another 1:31.3, but not for long. Liam Lawson's gone top now. Guess what? It's a 1:31.3. Arjun Maini goes even slightly quicker. He breaks into the 1:31.2s now. This is oh so close, and Kelvin van der Linde crosses the line and he snakes back into pole position. 1:31.088. That's an incredible lap. So that puts him a 10th clear, but it's oh so tight. You've got van der Linde on a 1:31.0, and then you've got Maini and Rockenfeller both on 1:31.2s. 1:31.3s for Lawson in 4th, Albon in 5th, Glock in 6th, and 1:31.4s for Wittmann and Buch in 7th and 8th positions. So we're going much quicker than we went in the free practice sessions yesterday. Timo Glock up to 6th place. Vincent Abril has just improved up into the top 10. Dev Gore has just improved up into 13th place. But this is a frenetic start to the session here. And Sheldon van der Linde at the moment is going to join his brother on the front row of the grid. This almost happened at Monza in the second qualifying session until really late on. Liam Lawson split the pair and snuck up onto the front row of the grid. Max Gotzo shows his hand for the first time in the session. He now goes to second place, just over half a tenth adrift. And Philippe Ellis goes through next. Every time somebody crosses the line, more or less, they go quickest or break up into the top 2 or 3. It is changing all the time, but that's our first lap in the 1:30 bracket. 1:30.874 for Philippe Ellis, number 57 in the Team Winward Mercedes. So an excellent effort from him. To the best of my knowledge, he won't have raced here at this circuit before, the former Audi TT Cup racer. I don't think the Audi TT Cup ever came to the Lausitzring. Picking up GT racing experience since, but Lawson and Maini go back to the top of the times. But any lap times taken away for track limits? Not yet. So Lawson and Maini and Ellis now in the 1:30.8s. It's Liam Lawson quickest for now, 1:30.817. That's 11 thousandths quicker than Maini, who's done a 1:30.828. He's been quick all weekend so far and looked really smooth and very much under control. Sheldon van der Linde is trying to get back up there. He was second not long ago. He's 10th now. He's done personal best in the first 2 sectors, though. Where will this put Sheldon van der Linde? Back up a little bit, but only to 8th place. Vincent Abril has improved as well into the top 5. Esteban Moot goes across the line. We had an absolute best first sector for Timo Glock of 19.395 seconds. That's a couple of tenths quicker than we saw yesterday. But it's the shortest sector. Sector 1 takes you from the start-finish line through turn 1 and just before the braking zone for turn 2. Sector 2 takes in turns 2, 3, 4 and 5. Down that second straight then is the sector time beam, and that's where that ends. And then the third sector takes in the twisty sections through turns 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 back onto the banking. So Liam Lawson's gone into the pits, Arjun Maini's come into the pits, and Philippe Ellis has come into the pits. They're the top 3. Mike Rockenfeller is 4th on a 1:30.978. That's 4 drivers now that have broken the 1:31 beam. And Vincent Abril is 5th with a 1:31.008. So you've got 57 thousandths of a second covering the top 3 in quality. So at the moment, we are on for the closest gap in qualifying thus far. In qualifying 1 at Monza, the top 2 were separated by 72 thousandths of a second, 78 thousandths of a second in qualifying 2 at Monza, and at the moment it's just 11 thousandths of a second between Lawson and Mining. So the cars making their way back in at the halfway stage, getting ready to quickly analyse their laps. The data, the track is obviously in great nick this morning. 26.3 degrees. It's hotter than it was at this stage yesterday. More rubber has been laid down, and the cars in qualifying trim are really, really pushing it now. So that's half a second quicker than the best time from free practice yesterday. So Lawson 130.817, Miney 130.828, and Ellis 130.874. Hardly anything between them. Rockenfeller just into the 130s as well with a 130.9. You've only got 30 thousandths of a second between Rockenfeller and Abril, 4th and 5th. You've got 25 thousandths of a second between Abril in 5th and Kelvin van der Linde in 6th. Van der Linde is 3 thousandths of a second quicker than Albon in 7th. And then you could call this a big gap, I suppose, because between 7th and 8th, between Albon and Sheldon van der Linde, you've got a whopping 91 thousandths of a second. So apart from the gap from Ellis to Rockenfeller, 3rd to 4th, the biggest gap between any 2 drivers in the top 12 is 91 thousandths of a second. It's incredible. It's a relatively long lap as well, 4.5 kilometres, even though they don't use that infield section on the inside of turn 1. They go all the way around the outside. It's a slightly longer circuit than the Grand Prix version that's been used before, around about 200 metres or 180 metres longer. As Lucas Auer heading back out, a race winner at a different version of this circuit last year. As we said yesterday, if you were watching our coverage of free practice, there's a lot of goodwill and support and fundraising that's going on for the victims of the awful floods that happened in Germany in the Eifel region, not too far from the Nürburgring a week or so ago. Sadly, a lot of people lost their lives, and a lot of people, thousands, tens of thousands of people have lost their homes, their businesses, and a lot of fundraising going on in amongst the DTM paddock. Some members of our own DTM family have been involved in that tragedy as well. And you got Timo Glock and a lot of the other drivers helping to raise funds for it. Kelvin van der Linde, by the way, his onboard camera is one of the cameras that's featuring this weekend, and his DTM onboard camera for Kelvin van der Linde, he's going to stream it to Twitch throughout the course of the weekend. And if you watch through that, any donations during the stream are going to go to the charities that are supporting the mass flooding in the Eifel region. So that's a really nice touch from Kelvin van der Linde, the championship leader. And on behalf of everybody at the DTM, our very best wishes to everybody that's been affected by those terrible events in Germany. So the car's heading out then for the final 6.5 minutes. And it was just about as frenetic a few minutes as I can remember that in a DTM qualifying session. How many drivers did we have that were provisionally on pole? Lawson is on provisional pole. Miney was there. Ellis was there. Timo Glock was there at one point. Kelvin van der Linde was there at one point. That's at least half a dozen, isn't it? Somebody I haven't mentioned yet is Nico Muller, who's down in 14th place. Half a second adrift of the time. We've got the top 17 cars covered by just 9/10 of a second. We have not yet had a proper lap from Daniel Hunkadea either. So that's a bit of a concern for Daniel potentially, unless it's tactical, but the Group M Racing Mercedes number 8 has yet to complete a lap. So there's Philip Ellis, currently the 3rd fastest driver, but a fraction away from being on provisional pole. Can they find any more time? Can they go any quicker? His best grid obviously came at Monza because that was his first DTM weekend. So his best grid there was a 6th place. So he's already proven to be a very competitive racer in DTM and qualifier from the performances we saw at Monza for the former Audi TT Cup racer and champion. Daniel Hunkadea has gone out now, so he's going through the 2nd sector at the moment, so he's going to register a lap time. But how good will it be? Daniel looked pretty good in the practice sessions yesterday. The fastest 1st sector time belongs to Timo Glock. Liam Lawson is the quickest driver in the second sector, and Kelvin van der Linde has the best sector 3 time, which shows you that it's a bit of a compromise on setup here. You have to have a low aero setup, low downforce, because you've got these very long straights, these fast corners on the tri-oval banking, but the infield is tight and twisty, where you could do with maybe a little bit more downforce. So it's hard for anybody to string together all 3 sectors, depending on just how much wing you're running. So Daniel Hunkedaya has a lap in the bag, but it's only a 1:37.5. So he's stone last at the moment. And yes, Nico Muller, 14th, the driver that's third in the championship. He was saying that the car was struggling a little bit with the balance, the setup yesterday. Lights flashing for Philip Ellis as he starts to pick up the pace, makes his way past a slower car, just to make them aware that he's coming. Nobody yet pushing. It'll be on the next lap where the times will start to come down. Although Esme Hawkey has just done a personal best in sector 1, 19.7 seconds. It's about 4/10 down on the very best, and half a tenth quicker than her through the first sector. Daniel Hunkedaya, he's done a personal best in sector 2, which is pretty good as well, 38.15 seconds. That's only 2/10 down in the second sector for Daniel Hunkedaya. So he's going to pop up the order, not hugely, I don't think, but he will move up. There he goes across the line to complete his first flying lap of the session, and it puts him to 11th place. So Hunkedaya gets a lap in, it's 11th. He'll want to build upon that, and he's only got 3 minutes or so in which to do that. SB Hawkey, a personal best in the second sector, which is a really good second sector actually, only a 10th down on the very best. So the Lamborghini might be about to move up the order. She's had a best qualifying so far of 12th. That was in the first session at Monza. She's 17th at the moment, but I think she might well be improving. So you can find a couple of tenths of a second on this lap. On board with Esme, coming out of the final turn now. Looks like Vincent Abril just ahead, about to go over the line. She'll have time for another couple of laps if the tyres will last for her. Esme Hawkey goes through. It's a personal best lap time, 1:31.5. She finds a couple of tenths, but she stays in 17th place. She can find 2 more tenths. She'll gain quite a few places because the group ahead of her are tightly bunched. Right, Daniel Hunkedaya, personal best in the first sector, a little bit down in the second sector, but it wasn't a bad second sector. So if he can hold it together in this third and final sector, Hunkedaya might just get himself up into the top 10. And there's Mike Rockenfeller, and the number 9 machine. Marco Wittmann has improved that to 8th place, and Mike Rockenfeller goes through to the top of the times. There wasn't an absolute best sector time there, it was just a consistent lap. So personal bests in sectors 2 and 3, but overall it's a 1:30.726 for Rockenfeller, and Kelvin van der Linde has joined him on the front row of the grid, so there is still time in the track. 1:30.726 for Rockenfeller, 1:30.813 for van der Linde. It's 91 thousandths of a second covering the top 3. Liam Lawson third at the moment. But personal best for Abril and Hunkedaya in the first sector. Hunkedaya's up to 8th place now, so he has got himself into the top 10 with this late charge. Only a minute and a half remains. No purple sector times yet. When the screen goes purple, it means somebody's done the absolute best sector time. There are personal bests happening out there though. Lucas Auer's got himself up into 6th place. There he is. So Lukey with a time of 1:30.940. Nobody got into the 1:30s yesterday. Now we've got 7 drivers that have managed to do so. 87 thousandths of a second between Mike Rockenfeller and Kelvin van der Linde. Rockenfeller, the 2013 champion. Can he be a surprise pole sitter here? Could it be his 8th career pole position? Rockenfeller, van der Linde and Auer still the only 3 to improve. Vincent Abril's put a pretty good first sector in, and Hunkedaya's on a good lap here. 19.497 seconds in the first sector. He's only about a 10th and a half down. He's a couple of tenths down in the second sector. It's going to be tight as to whether he improves or not, actually, but Hunkedaya should be on for a low 1:31. If he really holds it together, it could be excellent for him. It's a good first 2 sectors as well for Esteban Muti, you just saw in the Lamborghini, the T3 Motorsport car. So 2 personal bests, which weren't too far away from the absolute bests. There's Alex Albon coming through, and he's squeezed himself up to 5th place now, with a couple of personal best sectors. So Albon with a 1:30.860, and he shaves a few hundreds of his time, but he's now ahead of Philip Ellis, who's slipped back to 7th place. He hasn't been able to improve. The flag comes out then. Last roll of the dice for everybody here. Over the line to take the checkered flag is Timo Glock. He was down in 16th. He's just got himself back up to 8th place. Remember, Timo was quickest at the start of the session, but he does get a 1:30.8. That's a good effort given the fact that he missed so much running yesterday. Lawson has taken the flag. No improvement for him. 5th. Mining 6th at best. Gluck 8th, as we know, has taken the flag. Book in 10th, Hour in 11th, Abril in 12th have all taken the flag. Esme Hawkey and Nico Muller now take the flag, and Nico Muller doesn't improve on the last lap. His position, it's a better time, but he stays down in 16th place. Max Gotts, though, coming through. He's been nowhere either. He was looking really good yesterday, but Max Gotts is 15th. 1:31.057. If he'd done a 1:31.057 yesterday, he'd have been 3/10 quicker than anybody. It shows just how much the track has changed. But today, you do that time, and you're down almost at the back of the field. Sheldon van der Linde, 1:30.537 seconds, pops up right at the end of the session by 27 thousandths of a second. And it's a van der Linde front row, because it's Kelvin van der Linde that he knocks off down to second, Mike Rockenfeller down to third, and a 1:30.537 second lap right at the death for Sheldon van der Linde.
Pole position. Congrats. Yes, boys! Nice! Nice! This feels good. This feels really good. Oh, man. Awesome job, boys. Awesome job. It's always a dream. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Well, he reckoned the Lausitzring.
Very good. Happy for that.
He reckoned the Lausitzring might be his best chance to get a win.
And you're probably also proud to hear that it's P2 for your brother. Timo finished P8.
Well, how about that? Right at the end. Without really lighting up any purple sector times, they just sort of stealth-like snuck through the van der Lindes, and both got 1:30.5s. Looked like Rockenfeller had got it all the way there with the 1:30.641. But then Kelvin and then Sheldon popped up, and Sheldon van der Linde pats the roof of his number 31 Rover Racing BMWs. By 27 thousandths of a second, he has taken pole position just ahead of his brother, the championship leader, Kelvin van der Linde. That's his second career pole position. The last time he got pole was at Zolder in 2019. But this is where he got his first ever podium, the Lausitzring. And can he get his second career victory here? There's Mike Rockenfeller coming in. Wow, we all thought he got it. I bet he thought he got it as well with that terrific lap, 1:30.6, but it wasn't quite to be. Still think he'll be happy with that, though, because he was a little bit down on himself about his qualifying performances at Monza. Yes, there you go. He is happy. Quite right. So Mike Rockenfeller third. Gets the congratulations from Kelvin van der Linde. Thomas Biermeier is very happy with his car being up there in the top 3 championship points as well, of course, for Kelvin van der Linde. So he will get 2 championship points for that, and moves him on to 40 points, which will give him a 13-point lead over Liam Lawson.
So I think it's a compromise, you know. I think you have to.
So Sheldon van der Linde will get 3 points. That'll move him on to 16 points, level with Max Gotts for equal 7th in the championship. Kelvin, as I say, gets 2 points for second, 40 points, now 13 points clear in the championship. And Mike Rockenfeller will get a point for qualifying third. That will move him on to 6 championship points. There's a slightly pensive Lucas Auer. It looked like he was going to be up there in the top 6 at one point with just a few minutes to go. He's ended up 11th because of those very late improvements. And Mercedes, who looked very strong in the first free practice session yesterday, well, the best Mercedes is Philip Ellis, who, remember, was third in the session with 9 minutes to go when they all came in to change the setups and tyres, and then they went back out, and he didn't improve, and he's the best Mercedes, but down in 9th place. So it's Sheldon van der Linde for BMW. The 2 Audis of Kelvin van der Linde and Mike Rockenfeller second and third. Esteban Moots with a great qualifying in the Lamborghini to go 4th.
I was like happy, but also like
after the first run, I didn't think it was possible. I was like the second off a sudden, and then the cars stopped. You go for a slipstream on the second one? Yeah, I got one from Ellis. He almost blocked me, so it was close, but...
Now that's interesting to hear. The 2 brothers talking there.
The car was so good.
Sheldon to the left saying, I've got a slipstream, got a tow from Philip Ellis, which might just have been the thing that did it in the end, because it was only 27 thousandths of a second between the 2 brothers.
Closer. I'd say like 50% left.
So they continue to make history, this pair. As I say, they almost locked out the front row at Monza. That didn't quite happen, but it has happened today. And friends and family of the van der Lindes are going to be on the edge of their seats at the start of the race later on, when they're both together, hoping that they both get through with no problems. Well, the first corner, I think, will be okay. It's the second corner where it's all going to concertina up in the race. So we've got BMW from 2 Audis. As I say, the Lamborghini have moved in 4th. The Ferrari of Lawson in 5th. Sorry, the best Mercedes was Arjun Miney, wasn't it, in 6th place, who's up there again. Every session he's been up there this weekend, and I'm sure that Arjun is going to come away with some good points this weekend, because he has looked very fluid indeed. So Arjun Miney, the Indian driver, the 23-year-old, in his first season of DTM, having come up from ELMS racing for the last couple of seasons, former front-runner in international single-seater racing as well. He is their 6th quickest. He's the best Mercedes. Then it's Alex Albon in 7th, up there again as he was in free practice. Timo Glock, good effort that in the BMW for 8th, given he only had 9 laps yesterday. Philip Ellis in 9th. 10th place for Max Buch. All the Mercedes together. Ellis Buch, Auer 11th, Abril 12th, and Hunkadea 13th. All those Mercedes grouped together. Marco Wittmann 14th, Max Scott's 15th, Nico Muller 16th, Sophia Florsch in 17th, Esme Hawkey 18th, and Dev Gore in 19th position. And 18 of the 19 cars in that session were split by just 0.8 of a second. Absolutely incredible stuff. Right, so the drivers are out of the cars. Verena is down there, and hopefully we can now hear from a few of our front runners from that qualifying session.
So we've got Mike Rockenfeller here now in P3. Good job in Monza. I think you were 10th and 8th, and now a P3. So what are you, how's the race going to go? What do you think? How tough is it out here?
Well, it's really tough for sure. Corner 1 is something we are all excited about, but on the other hand, we will see how it is in the race, how it develops on the starts and so on. So it's for sure something special. I think Monza in qualifying I was P11 and P17.
Okay.
So in the race you were right, absolutely. So the quali, I think, looks a bit more promising. I really worked hard, to understand the car. For me, the GT3, for sure it's a new era. Let's say, I was so used to the old, let's say, Class 1 cars, and you have those specialists like the brothers here, 1, 2. I think my teammate Kelvin, he knows the car inside out. He's almost sleeping in it. He does, 25 races since 5 years every year. And so it's not easy, but luckily I have him as a teammate. And of course I'm here to try for victories and championships. And I think from now on it looks a bit more promising, but you never know in DTM. It's so tight, like today you make a small mistake or the setup is not working correct. You're on the wrong place on the track, there's some dirt, whatsoever, it always can be. I'm just very happy that we made a good step from Monza, and we need to continue working, and then I'm sure we are there.
You were DTM champion in 2013, but as you mentioned, obviously it's a whole new story now with the new cars. But in regards to turn 1, you already mentioned, there are a lot of rookies here as well, and it's such a tough corner. So what are you expecting for turn 1?
I hope we all make it safe, because it's quite a dangerous corner.
With top speed of 250, I think,
yeah,
right?
Probably the top speed in the corner is, I don't know, or the minimum speed is probably 250 in the corner, I don't know. I need to check after quali, but for sure there's a concrete wall. If something goes wrong, it's a huge impact. So I hope we all make it safe today and have some fun and hopefully score good points and take home a trophy. That would be nice.
Yeah, crossing my fingers. Thank you so much, Rocky.
Thanks.
And I'm going to try to get Sheldon. His brother is still in an interview, but Sheldon here. Hey there, Sheldon. Congratulations. Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
I bet you're very happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Second pole in DTM today. I won 2 with my brother, which is probably the most special part. I just get goosebumps thinking about it, really. We never thought it would happen so soon, at least. But the car was good all weekend. Yesterday we made some good steps on the car, and in the first run, I didn't think it was possible. I think I was like 8 tenths behind pole or something, or P8, sorry, and 4 tenths behind pole. But in the end, the car was really good in the second run. We managed to do a good step on the car balance. So just happy for the team. I mean, what they've done in their rookie season in DTM is amazing against guys like Abt and so on. So I'm super proud of them, and hopefully we can carry it through in the race later.
Yeah, so thank you so much. And just one mini question, just very short. What's it like in a duel with a brother?
Well, at the moment it's still good because we haven't touched yet on track, but that's also the plan for the race, by the way. So no, at the moment, perfect situation. We just see that we both manage P1 and P2 after the first corner. It's going to be tricky with the oval on the start, so we have some analyzing to do, and I'm sure we'll manage it.
But is it a good thing having the family here? I mean, you're rivals, you're not partners, so what's it going to be like? What can we expect?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously the family fight is always nice when it runs good, but obviously my parents are sitting at home very nervous. They're going to be watching the race every lap. So yeah, we try and keep it clean from the boys over here, and yeah, try to make them proud.
All right, we'll see. Thank you so much, Calvin. And that's it from the qualifying here at the Lausitzring. And we're expecting a very exciting race in just a bit with a duel of the brothers. And of course, everybody else is going to try their best too. So it's going to be super exciting. Don't want to miss it. See you later.